Hey, I'm Mike. I am presenting on the genus Dictyosphaeria, green bubble algae. So, Dictyosphaeria is a eukaryotic plant in the phylum Chloropta, class Ovoviceae, order Dictyosphaeria, and family Siphonochlodaceae. There are 15 species worldwide, with 2 here in Hawaii, and the type species is Dictyosphaeria cavernosa. So Dictyosphaeria has the sporic meiosis life history. It has isogynous biflagellate gametes and quadriflagellate spores. It also has an isomorphic alternation of generation life history. For growth, it displays segregative cell division, where it forms multinucleate aggregates of cytoplasm within the parent cell. It spontaneously forms cell walls, and as it expands, it ruptures the parent cell, forming the characteristic bubble shape for this algae species, or genus. In the paper I read, they were looking at the different factors that affect growth rate here on Oahu in Kaneohe Bay. So overall, they found that the growth rate changed throughout the year, with the highest growth rate in the fall and the lowest in the spring. They don't think that it's because of herbivory, because the highest rates of herbivory is during the summer and fall, and they also, for this in this experiment, they had cages out in the water with different sizes of mesh, with the smallest mesh to prevent herbivory of fish, and they found that the highest growth rate was in the fall. They found that there was a seasonal change in the percent cover that depends on the location. On the northern coast of Oahu, where there's a lot of wave action, they found that the highest percent cover was during the summer and not in the winter, as they would expect with a high growth rate in the fall, and it's likely because the high wave action during the winter months caused a lot of the algae to break off of the substrate and float away. Because the highest growth rate was in the fall, it's not likely that high irradiance causes the high growth rate, because in the fall there's about 20% of maximum sunlight. Experiments in the lab found that growth of Dictyosphaeria is a nitrogen limited plant. So they had some expectations that perhaps the growth rate would be higher during the winter and spring months, because of the rainy season would cause increased nitrate runoff from land, but that is not what they observed. Instead, they concluded that it was likely the seasonal change in temperature of the ocean that indirectly affected the growth rate of this genus of algae, because the warmer temperatures during the summer and fall causes marine microorganisms and benthic invertebrates to increase their production of inorganic nitrogen in the form of ammonia that this plant could use for growth. Finally, they found that this plant would grow had a higher growth rate on the reef than they would expect from experiments in lab, based on the surrounding nitrogen levels of the water column. In Kaneohe Bay, the nitrogen levels are less than 0.5 micromolar, and the experiments they did in lab showed that it would not support the growth rate of Dictyosphaeria. But they found that within the chambers of the bubble algae itself, that the nutrient levels were higher than out in the water column. So they thought that perhaps the algae can accumulate nutrients from the water and store it within them, so they can have a higher growth rate than expected. And that's what I had.